Hey, what's up guys? So today's video, I wanted to take a minute just to recap where we're at with the Dakota project, where we're at with the builds, and what you guys can expect to see. I know a lot of the videos that I'm posting is either events happening or a mod, but I like to do these videos just to get you guys caught up to speed on what we're doing, what the plan is, and what you guys can expect to see next. So right now, with the truck sitting right here, where we're at, is it's running decent. It's pretty much all stock except for headers, and it has the intake on it, and it has the Mopar Performance PCM in it. So that's pretty much it, I think, for the most part. You guys have seen all the videos. We've lowered the truck now. So the truck's lowered front and back. We've got smaller diameter tires on there, and we put a lot of cosmetic stuff. I wanted to get it at least looking decent first before we kind of jump to the next step, because the thing was pretty hideous to look at. So, I mean, we did a windshield, we took that old vinyl off the roof, we did the headlights, we've done a lot of LEDs, we polished the whole truck, we changed the mirrors. So now it's actually looking pretty decent. I'm actually kind of liking how it's looking right now. What else did we do? We cleaned the whole interior, so a lot of cleaning went on. And with the stereo now, we finally have a stereo, and I just received the extra parts that I needed too. So there's gonna be kind of a little video updating on a few other things. So I kind of wanna do the stereo. So we'll actually install the stereo properly because it's just kind of sitting there right now. And we will do a couple other cosmetic things. I do want to actually shorten that antenna. So I've seen people where they actually shorten the stock antenna mast. So we'll do that in the stereo video for you guys. The just small little things that I'm kind of mentioning here, the wiper blades, or actually the wiper arms, I should say, they're actually completely sun-baked. So I want to get those off, paint them, make it look good. And then as far as performance stuff goes, what our plan is, so we went to the track. Obviously, you guys saw things didn't go quite as planned, but I kind of want to mention something. So we put used tires on it. Obviously, we can't expect the world out of used tires. So they spun. It didn't matter what I did, how much heat I got in those tires, they just spun. So obviously the tires were an issue, but I haven't really modded it too much because I definitely want to set a baseline for the truck. I kind of want to do it for you guys, for YouTube, just for in general, just to show what a 20-year-old Dakota RT, you know, with 160 something thousand miles on it, is actually capable of. I don't think the motor itself, just because let you guys know if you haven't seen that video, I don't think the motor itself has that many miles on it. It does have, it still has a 5.9 in it, but it's a motor out of a junkyard type thing. So it has an LKQ stamp on it, if you guys know what that is. So they're like one of the biggest recyclers in the world. So that engine has been replaced at some point. With how many miles, I don't know. It seems to run strong, but so like I said, traction was an issue, and I saw some comments where people were like, you know, you should learn throttle control or you should pedal it, but spinning ain't winning. So, I mean, it's not like we're talking about the 1800 horsepower car where you actually have to pedal it and utilize that power. If we let off the gas for even a split hair or a second in this thing, it is just gonna fall flat on its face and it's not gonna do anything. So this thing doesn't have enough power to be pedaling it down the track. I'll just say that bluntly right now. This thing does not have enough power to be pedaling it. If we pedal it, it's just gonna hurt the time. So we have to be able to just slam it pretty much and just try to get as much traction and acceleration as we can, because that's pretty much the only thing this has going for it at this point. It just has 392 in the back. It's got a decent amount of torque. So the only thing that this has going for right now in the stock form, again, just stock form, is for us to get a decent launch, jump ahead of maybe a car that's beside us, and try to just maintain that jump. So with that being said, I do have tires on the way. We already ordered them. So I got Hoosier tires coming. We're gonna put a 15-inch on the back so that we have more rubber, less rim, so that we can try to get some traction. So that's the plan. If all goes as planned this week, this video, you guys should be seeing this on Tuesday. I'm trying to make it to the drag strip Thursday night. The local Thursday night's only an 1/8 mile, but at least we'll get hopefully a true reading. I am going full slick. So this is gonna be a full slick tire. We're gonna be putting a drive shaft loop on it. and we got a bunch of stuff. So once, this is kind of the plan. I really wanted to just set a stock time for the truck in its pretty much stock form before we start modding. So I know a lot of you guys are asking about the mods. They're coming, I promise. I've just been putting them on the back burner until we can truly get a reading what this thing does 0 to 60 with the small, 3 bolt-ons or whatever you want to call that, the intake, the headers, and the Mopar PCM. What those things do in stock trim with true traction, not pedaling it, not BSing anybody, just straight up, what does this thing run if you get full traction in stock form? So that's the goal. So I just kind of wanted to make that clear to you guys. And where do we go from there? From there, then we start to get into the fun stuff. So first things first, you guys know HP Tuners, I said it before, has support now for this truck. So I'll show you guys all this stuff too. So we'll do a read on the truck. I'll show you guys how to use HP Tuners to read what's in the truck. So essentially what that's gonna do is go into the PCM. We'll be able to extract whatever's in there, do a read on it. We can see all the settings, and then we can upload or send our file or calibration back into this current computer. So from there, that's where things can get interesting. We can start playing with shift points, rev limiters, timing, fueling, all that stuff. I do want to get a different throttle body on there, a bigger throttle body. Then we're going to get an intake. I think at this point we're probably going to go with the air gap, so that Hughes air gap one. And I'm on the fence right now. We're definitely going to be boosting this thing. It's Boost Motorsports, so either way it's going to get boost. I'm on the fence between trying to do like a cheap eBay twin turbo kit. I fully realize and fully know what headaches that's going to bring with it. It's going to be cheap components. It'll be a ton of fun, but it will end up bringing along a bunch of headaches along with it. I've done it before on older vehicles in my younger years. You do something like that, it's fun as heck, but the turbos are cheap, the bearings go out, you might get one good week out of it or day out of it, and then all of a sudden there's smoke coming out the back because the turbo seal went or the manifold cracked and you have an exhaust leak now. It's just, those are the kind of issues that I'm fully expecting to happen, but somebody brought up a good point. We could twin turbo it. I mean, it's not like it's impossible, but there's not a whole lot of room underneath that hood. So the twin turbo kit off eBay, you guys saw how the eBay headers fit, so you can only imagine how an eBay twin turbo kit would fit. There'd be a ton of customization. I don't have a welder on deck here, so we would have to invest in a welder. If anybody has hookups for a welder, whether it's a Lincoln or a Miller or anybody from either one of those companies happens to see this video, or you guys have connections to them, that would be cool too, because then we could actually start getting in there and welding stuff and custom fabbing it. I'm totally down to do that. I just don't have those items with me. So if we could get a welder on here, it has to be a decent welder too. So I'd probably want to be a TIG. But getting the welder on here and then trying to weld all that, or the other way we go is to try to supercharge it. It would be much easier, honestly, for me to supercharge it. We did it with the last one, so with the Pro Charger, but it would just be easier. You just put the supercharger in there, bolt up some stuff, and then you're off and running pretty much. So it'd be cool if even Pro Charger somehow we can get a hold of them and get their kit on here, because Pro Charger does make a kit for this thing. And I've been talking to Flying Ryan Performance as well, so we kind of had a good chat as well. And he said you can pretty much make 450 to 500 wheel horsepower on the stock long block on these trucks. So that's good news. I asked him about the transmission. He said the transmission can take it. So it will hold for how long, we're not sure, but he said even if you wanted to keep the stock transmission, there's a few things that you can do to it that are pretty cheap, like less than $1,000 to beef up the stock transmission, and it'll hold for quite some time. So I don't want to give out all his secrets or whatnot on this video, but anyways, I've been talking to him. So he said you can pretty much make 450 to 500 wheel horsepower stock long block, and you could do that on a turbo setup or a supercharger setup. You kind of let me know a couple different people that were doing that. So it is possible. The only thing obviously is the intake manifold and a throttle body, and that's pretty much it. So that's where we're at. Other things too. So we do have an electric fan on the truck right now. So I will be showing you guys that video on the electric fan install. I'll show you guys the electric fan just quickly here. It opened up a ton of room. So we have the electric fan in there. Some guys are arguing whether it needs to be shrouded or not shrouded. I'm doing this for you guys to show you real world results, not internet results. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you guys know me, I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you guys if it doesn't work. This thing is a 3000 CFM. I'll get into all that detail in that video. If it doesn't work, whatever it takes, Shane over there at Whatever It Takes Transmission, he does have a Ford Taurus fan that he's not using. So we do have a backup plan if this doesn't do what it needs to do. But right now it seems to move a ton of air. So don't worry, you guys. I know a lot of people are questioning whether that'll move the amount of air that it needs to, but we'll find out. If it doesn't, we'll switch it. That's kind of just how things are going to go around here. So another thing too, just a note, is with my truck being a 99, it has the rad behind the support. So I know the newer ones, I think this setup is somewhat different. I don't have one here to compare, obviously, but the rad is underneath of here. I don't know at this point which one's better to have. I'm hoping that I can keep our AC and put an intercooler in here. So whether we go supercharger or turbocharger, hopefully we can get this all to fit and still have our grill and AC. At this point, it's still going to be kind of a street truck, but if we went full drag, then we would get rid of AC and just start sweating, I suppose. And inside the truck, that's what the interior is looking like. Like I said, I still got to put that stereo bezel in there. As far as, I don't know if you guys can see that too well, but as far as our upper control arm, that mod that I did to the upper control arm does seem to be working. So I think I need to just grind the left side down just ever so slightly, but it is clearing now because we had the clearance issues on the header from the upper control arm. Other things, the wires, that kit that I ended up getting, I mentioned to you guys before, I think, but that wire kit that I got with the coil pack, that fixed a ton of issues on the truck. This thing runs honestly 100 times better than it did before. Oh, one other thing too, with deleting the mechanical fans, again, talking to Flying Ryan, this is good for about 15 wheel horsepower. So removing that huge propeller essentially off the front of the engine, not only did we shed a bunch of weight, but it's going to be good for, I think it was, don't quote me, but it was around 15 wheel horsepower at least. So that should give us a little bit of an advantage when we're starting off with around 250 horse stock. So we're already starting to get near 300 horsepower, I would say. I don't know exactly the number, but just roughly. As far as some other stuff, I do still have to take apart the transmission. So we got the seals. I don't know if anybody guessed what these seals are for. We got them from Whatever It Takes, but leave your comment in the comments below what you guys think those are for. Again, this is the tool that is going to remove that seal. So let me know what you guys think that is for. Oh, another thing too that we have is the rear bump stops. That still has to go on. And there's kind of a bunch of stuff. I do want to put these, they're a little bit undersized, but I want to put them back in. These are the speakers out of, I don't know what that was. These are the speakers out of the back of the truck. So right now we only have front speakers. These ones were with the truck when we got it, but I think they're too small for the back. If anybody knows if there's supposed to be some stock bezel, because these things look a little tiny. But anyways, these are actually good speakers. They're Alpine Type S, so we'll toss them back in there. They're a little small, but like I said, we have a ton of stuff going on this truck. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the build. Like I said, there's a lot going on this thing. An update on the S2000. It's kind of just chilling here. I need to get out to a track day, so you guys will see me take this out to a track day here pretty damn soon. I'm guessing within the next few weeks or so, we'll hit a track day, so that'll be that. And as far as the Viper, like I said, not a whole lot going on with it, but we can now tune it with HP tuners. So I'll show you guys hooking up to the car, downloading what's in the Viper, and then we'll send a new calibration to it. So there's a couple things I want to clean up on the tune. I also want to kind of tinker around with it a little bit, see if we can get a bit more pops and burbles out of it. Nothing too crazy just yet. Obviously I don't want to be, messing around with this motor too much and yanking it, but I do want to clean up a couple things on the tune, so I'll show you guys all that stuff as well. There's the clutch fan or mechanical fan sitting there, so it is out. One other thing I did want to show you guys, so most of the leaks on the engine are fixed, and we'll talk about the transmission again in just a second, but you guys remember I put the Felpro gaskets on the valve covers. If you guys can see right there, hopefully you guys can see that. Using my Harbor Freight light for you guys. So right there, you'll see a bunch of copper gasket sealant. It was puking still out of that bolt. So even though we got the thick Felpro gaskets in there, this one bolt was relentless. So right here, you can probably see it. It would not stop puking oil from that one bolt hole. So I ended up trying a couple different gasket makers on it. It seems to be somewhat stopped. It's still ever so slightly wet, but if you guys have encountered that, definitely let me know. I don't know what other remedies to get that to stop from puking, but I almost want to put some Teflon on the bolt at this point or something, but I don't know. It seems to be weeping from there. Putting a bunch of silicone on there, a gasket maker, seems to have stopped most of it, but it was weeping actually quite a bit. Let's talk about the transmission. So I've seen some comments of people asking about the transmission and adjusting the bands on the transmission. So let's go back to the track day that you guys probably saw. So the track day video, I'm not even joking, the truck was spinning the tires for at least a third of the track. When you guys finally see the truck shift was when I finally got traction, and the truck kind of didn't know what to do with itself. I mean, if you guys look at the tach, the speedo hit pretty much like 70 miles per hour or somewhere in that range before it started to get traction. And at that point, the truck bogged down, and then I think it tried to figure out whether it was going to upshift or downshift or what it was going to do with itself. So when you're just driving around, for whatever reason, it seems to get okay traction on the street if you're not like just punching it. It shifts great. So the truck shifts great, it upshifts great, downshifts great, all that good stuff. And honestly, it feels really good. So I don't really want to mess with the bands at this point. It's not lazy, the transmission right now. It punches the gears. So when it shifts too, it actually throws you back. It feels good. I don't think there's any reason to mess with the bands. I've talked to Shane at Whatever It Takes Transmission. He said if it feels good, don't mess with it, because you can kind of go down a slippery slope of adjusting them one way or the other wrong. Like I said, I don't have any complaints about the transmission. It shifts hard, it shifts firm, and it feels good. So I don't think there's any reason to mess with it at this point. You can't use the track day as a gauge for the shifting, because like I said, it was spinning the whole time. So when we put the tires on this week, hopefully we'll make it to the track, the 15-inch Hoosiers, go to the track, and then we'll have a true indication of how it's shifting, all that stuff. So as far as transmission maintenance, you guys saw Whatever It Takes gave us a transmission pan, a new pan, a filter, and we're gonna replace all that stuff, and he gave us a gasket too. So we'll drop the pan, put the new filter, put those seals in, put everything back together. I already have ATF4 Mopar stuff on the way, so that should be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna rip apart the transmission before we go to the track. Like I said, it's okay. It just kind of has some drifts below it right now. But I really want to try to make it to the track day. So I still have to put the drive shaft loop on there so that the track officials don't give us a hard time. So I got to try and get that all on, get the tires on right now. I think I'm about to go pick up some 15-inch rims because I only have 17s right now. We got a lot of stuff on the way. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Make sure you guys share these videos. If you guys enjoy the videos, you guys think of videos entertaining, fun, or even helpful, share it where you guys think people will enjoy it. We'll only get this channel to grow and do more mods and get this whole thing going by you guys sharing and supporting the channel. Also, if you guys can and you guys have the means to, hit that join button and join Team Boosted Motorsports. Any of the support that we get from the channel, it just goes right back in. You guys see tons and tons of parts showing up as if we're a TV show. It's all pretty much being funded on my own dime. We have a few members right now. Again, thanks to the people who have joined so far, but any support helps you guys, honestly. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this thing running, trying to keep it almost like a TV show so that it's entertaining, it's fresh, there's always new content coming, but it does cost money. So I'm trying to make this whole channel thing go. I love doing this, so I'm probably going to do it either way, but at the scale and the pace that we're doing it on, it does get hard at times, honestly. I'm just a working guy here trying to make ends meet. But also, if you guys haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Lots of content on the way, lots of different cars, trucks. Once we finish this build, I'm thinking we might get a diesel, honestly. Having this truck here and seeing it, I think it would be cool to have a diesel truck that we could probably tow all this stuff with, get a car hauler. You guys saw or heard my plans that I have for the side yard. If we can make it all happen, I think it would be cool, but I need your guys' support to make it all happen. That's pretty much it. Right now, I think, oh, here is the stereo bezel as well. So that's ready to go in as well. Let's wrap this thing up, you guys. So right now, I think I'm supposed to be going ahead and drive to go get the rims for the Hoosiers. Hoosiers on my tracking are supposed to show up Thursday, and then Thursday night, almost Thursday afternoon, I have to leave to go for the track. So things are super busy over here. I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you guys check if you guys aren't following on Instagram. Sometimes I post stuff there. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.